All right, so I spent the last couple of weeks obsessing and sketching and model building, and I've come up with a design that I really do like. If you saw the last video, this is probably the study model that you saw at the end of that video. I've made a lot of changes, design decisions since then, both on the arrangements of the outlets and the eventual wiring of the entire tray. So I've managed to get past the study model stage, and I have what will eventually be the final tray. But that's not to say that this is 100% the way that it's going to look in its entirety when it's done. There are a few things that I need to still tweak and some revisions that I need to make. First being that my early study models, most of them at least, not this one, but the ones that I made subsequent to this one, I developed this little pocket back here, which I want to use to store my power cord for my tent, for my accessory power up into the tent, just so I have a place to put the cord so it doesn't get lost or left anywhere. As I was making the aluminum tray, I realized that the more material I removed from the tray to get it to fit snugly against the profile of the tub, the less support this rear tab actually had. As you can see, it's only attached at the top here. So I still need to develop a way to sort of reinforce this before I start cutting out more material up here to make that pocket that I want to have back here. Another thing that I decided to change since the study model in the last video was I decided to relocate one of the 12-volt receptacles and put it on the side here. Normally my refrigerator is located right here, and I just figured it would be smarter to have it on the side here out of the way, so in case I want to move something across this area, I'm not bumping into the plug. It's sort of just tucked away under there. I also decided to simplify the front panel here. Originally I decided to radius this corner here to round it off. It just looked kind of smooth with the profile of my battery monitor, but I think this would just make it that much harder to cap off when I'm done. What I'm eventually going to wind up doing is machining a cap that would slide into here, and maybe I have a couple set screws, maybe back here, I'm not sure yet, but I'm just going to leave that as it is for the time being. So the decision to square this off as opposed to the rounded profile of the initial design, I'm not sure if I like the way that it looks next to the circular profile of the battery monitor, but Victron does give you these squared off cover plates, and I'm thinking that this actually looks better. The initial idea was, you know, it would look nice to have a round monitor because it would match the receptacles back here, but you know, it's right next to the Switch Pros pad, which is, you know, rectangular in shape. So I'm thinking make this all square and then have these circular, and they can be sort of two zones, but I'm not exactly sure yet. I also want to adjust how the switch pad sits on the top of the tray here. If you look closely, you can see the pad has this 5 or 6 millimeter recessed lip on it. So I'm going to drop the pad down and rest it on that lip inside the tray. I think that should make everything look more uniform across the top of the tray. But this is where the tray's at the moment. Getting kind of excited about it. I got my Victron BMV 712 battery monitor here. This is going to keep an eye on my battery bank underneath my rear bench. And I got my Switch Pros SP9100 pad, and that's what will control all of my accessories in the Jeep and up in the tent on the roof. Then I got my SAE outlet here, which kind of started all this. Then I have dual USB. I'm probably going to swap this socket out for one of the USB-C combinations that I have in the Jeep up in the sound pods right now. I'll probably, you know, put this one up there instead. I'd rather have the USB-C also down here. And then I got my cigarette lighter socket. Then I got shore power. This will be connected to my Naco battery charger on board. That will power up my battery bank if it gets too low. Then I have 110 out. This is for just random stuff at the campsite. Maybe somebody needs to power an air pump for their mattress or something if there's no power at the campground. And then I have my tent power receptacle. this will power the accessories in the tent, as well as the flood lighting that I have on the passenger and the driver's side of the Jeep. And then eventually when I get some solar panels, and you know, that's a ways ahead, but this will be for bringing power into the battery bank from up at the roof where the solar panels will be, or on top of the tent where the solar panels will be. And last but not least, I got my 12 volt on the side here, side panel, and that will be dedicated to my refrigerator. Oh, one more thing. I think I am going to put the Anderson plug in this front panel here, just because that's one thing that I don't have, that I have come across in the past, that, you know, somebody has something they need to plug in. That's the whole concept of this, is to be able to power pretty much anything that I would normally come across on the campsite. So Anderson plug will go up in this front panel here, and maybe some sort of stylized, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do up there yet. I want to make it look nice though. Other than that, I still need to cut my opening for the cubby back here, and that's where my tent power cord will reside when I'm not using it. This will just roll up and that'll slide into, you know, sort of like this here. It'll sit like this. It doesn't really matter anymore, it's just a study model, but once I reinforce this flap here, then I'll be able to open this up and I'll have a spot for my power cord. So as far as mounting, as it stands right now, I'm just running 2 mounting screws here, because this will have some sort of rubber coping on it, and this will sit flush against the floor. So I'm thinking that these 2 mounting bolts, these 2 slide bolts, they'll be enough to hold it in place. If it's not, I can always add more. It's not, you know, the end of the world. But these are just, you know, cap screws, Allen head cap screws with slide nuts. And so the way this works is I have a T-channel mounted to the inside of my tub. I don't remember if I showed a photo of it during the last video, but this is how this is going to work. Let me put the light on here. I can't really show this with the camera on my head, but that's the T-channel right there. That is screwed to the body of the Jeep with these screws here that hold the corner armor on. They hold the T-channel really tight to the body. And so that's what is going to hold this. These 2 screws will go in the other side of the T-channel. This slides down in here, and those screws will hold it in place. So it's nice and flush with the top. It's actually maybe 1.5 millimeters recessed from the height of the belt rail, which is exactly what I wanted. I mean, it almost looks like it's supposed to be there. I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. So I mentioned earlier in the video that this area back here is going to be for a pocket that will house my tent power cord. This is going to tuck down into the corner of the Jeep right here. But before I make that opening, as I was saying, I need to support this flap back here, which is sort of hanging out here. It's not terribly weak, but I think it really needs to be supported. And so what I'm thinking is I build myself sort of a wall. I cut it at 90 degrees and then comes down and it tucks underneath the belt rail up against the tub and follows the profile of the tub to the back here. And then it cuts back 90 degrees like that. And then on the inside, I'll have 2 mounting screws here and 2 mounting screws here. And that will tie the front part of the tray to this tab on the back behind the cage here. And I can actually, if I'm following the profile of the tub, that will close this opening here, which is, you know, something that was kind of inevitable, because when I pull the tray in and out, it needs to match the profile of the belt rail. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get it in. So that bracket, I can leave the bracket in the tub and slide the tray in place. And once I have the tray in place, I can line the holes up and then screw the tray to the support, and everything will be installed in its place. So that's about all I got to report in this video. As far as hardware goes, so to speak, there's one more thing, and that's the switch module here. This is the module that controls all the Switch Pro's black magic, so to speak. That I'm considering mounting underneath the tray in this cavity down here. And so that'll be concealed once I put my cap on here with the plug in here. The only problem with that is that Switch Pros recommends strongly in their instruction manual that you shouldn't modify the length of the power cord. They actually say if you need a longer or shorter one, you should get in touch with them, and they can make you one up. Only problem with that is I'm in Taiwan, and shipping isn't exactly convenient for me. And I actually already shortened this wire once. Right now I think it's 8 to 10 inches long. So it's just a matter of making it longer, long enough to reach from underneath the tray down to my battery bank, which is right here underneath the back seat. I'm gonna give it a shot and see if it works. If it doesn't, then I guess I'll just have to get in touch with Switch Pros and have them make me a custom length cable.